Alright, good afternoon, gentlemen. Hopefully everyone's having a fantastic day. It's episode number 35 of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. I'm just over here in this kind of like makeshift bee farm. I'm collecting up all of the honeycomb that we're going to need to get started on the bee farm that we're going to be building in today's episode. The automatic bee farm. I'm going to want to farm up a bunch of honeycomb and a bunch of honey so that we could use those honey blocks that are basically like the opposite of slime blocks. I know you need them for some specific redstone projects, and I also really like the look of this honeycomb block that we can, I guess, use in the end for building Asgard. Anyways, though, yeah, this is what we have right now, but where we're going to be building today is kind of right in front of it, right next to the moss farm along here. I found a design on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and link that in the description down below. It doesn't really look too complex to build, so we should be able to knock it out pretty quickly, and it's, again, not that complex, so I hope that it works right when we build it. There's not really too much redstone and minutia that can go wrong with like timing and all of that kind of stuff, so I'm going to go collect up a bunch of resources, everything that we need for this farm, and I'm going to go ahead and build it up and maybe breed up a few more bees just so that we have everything ready and we can start construction on the automatic bee farm. Alright, so here we are. I've started to build up the farm. The majority of it is completed. I would say the redstone side of things are for the most part finished. I obviously have to come back and decorate everything. It's not finished looks-wise or design-wise or whatever. The redstone itself is very simple. This is just the collection system down here. There's going to be a hopper minecart running back and forth. It's going to collect up all the honeycomb and all of the bottles of honey, and then we could take that and run it to some kind of storage system. Anyways, these dispensers kind of point down. I'm going to load them with either shears or bottles. I'm probably going to do like half and half. As far as the redstone itself goes, it's very simple. There's not really much going on here, just some basic redstone dust, some dispensers, and some comparators. I'm not exactly sure how it works at all. I haven't really looked into any of that. I'm just going to build it exactly how it is in the tutorial, and hopefully it'll work. If I have to troubleshoot later on, then we'll get to that when when the problems arise, and yeah, that should be pretty simple. Everything is looking fairly good, so I'm going to continue to decorate it. I'm going to get some bees in here, maybe like add some glass so the bees can't escape, and then I'll be back with you. Alright, so while I was collecting up the honeycombs, I kind of forgot to place a campfire block underneath the beehive, and then I sheared the beehive, and now a few of these guys are angry. Hopefully, if I just let them be, they go back into their beehive. I don't know exactly. As you can see, yeah, these guys look like they're going back in, and they're not angry anymore. I don't think they won't pop out, so that's pretty good. I honestly have no idea how any of these bee mechanics work. I think I mentioned that in the previous episode, but yeah, there you go. His eyes are no longer red, and he's back into his honey hive, or beehive, sorry. If we close the door, it doesn't seem like any of them are coming out, so yeah, I'm definitely not going to make that mistake again. I'm not exactly sure what happens if they do sting us. Is it like real life? Do they die right away? I'm, again, not really sure, but yeah, I'm going to get back to building the automatic bee farm. Alright, so here we are. It should be fully functional at this point. Again, I haven't decorated the farm yet. It's going to look different, that's for sure. I think you guys can come to expect that from me. But for right now, it's efficiently working. I don't know exactly what the drop rate is like. I don't know if we're going to be needing to AFK here, or if it's just going to accumulate by itself and we're going to get tons and tons of honeycomb and I guess just honey in bottles. Or is it going to be slow and I'm going to have to kind of like AFK over here overnight. We can, again, expand this farm. It's very easy to build. It didn't take many resources, and I honestly think that I'm going to want a lot of honey, specifically to use that honeycomb block in the end. I love the pattern of it. It looks very royal and prestigious, and not really like anything else we have in this game. It's almost like a golden cobblestone, but a very fancy version of that. So yeah, this has definitely been a success. I'm going to go ahead and AFK here and see if we could collect up some blocks. Alright, so I left my computer on while I went to the washroom, and it seems as though we've gotten about 9 honeycomb. That's not exactly a lot. It takes 4 to craft a block, so I'm definitely going to have to do a lot of AFKing over here. Alright, so I've been doing a bit of AFKing, a few hours or so. These are the results. So definitely lower than I expected them to be, but it's definitely a good start. We can use all of these honeycomb blocks to expand the bee farm, or to build different bee farms, more bee farms, get more of these resources. The one thing that I actually forgot about was candles. We can now finally craft candles. I completely forgot that candles were in Minecraft, and I'm so excited to use these. They're a great detail to add to different builds. I can substitute lanterns now with candles on some tables and just mix them into the area as a new light source, so that's a great thing. Alright, I just want to go ahead and apologize for what you're seeing in front of you. I don't know why these clips are kind of like fuzzy or low resolution. I don't know what setting I changed. They just kind of, for the next 3 clips went fuzzy, and then after that everything looks fine. So unfortunately that's the case, but we're back here in this town. We haven't been here in quite a while. I finished the main strip and then we just left it alone. We're going to be working on some of the, I guess, areas that I kind of plotted out in a previous episode. We're going to finally be building more of these houses, filling out the streets, working on different districts, and I think we're going to focus on just over here by the docks for this particular episode, just seeing how many houses we can knock out, different coffee shops and buildings and offices, things of that sort. So I'm going to have to go into a creative test world, design up some houses, and then jump back in here and get to work. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, some construction has begun. I have 2 buildings in front of you. One of them is missing a lot of blocks, one on the right with the courts going on. Then on the left, we have this more, I guess, royal business building. There's a lot of sandstone and prismarine going on, which is a combination that I haven't used much. But yeah, this building is definitely missing a lot of the blocks in the middle. There's going to be a lot of terracotta going on there. I'm not exactly sure what color we're going to be using, but so far I like the shape of these 2 buildings. I think the height is pretty good. Maybe we'll have a lot of height variation in this particular district, some taller buildings, some shorter buildings, just a lot of very different blocks going on, so that should add some color and some spice to this area. But that's kind of what we've been going for all of the buildings in this area. Everything looks drastically different to the next building beside it. Alright, so I did a bit of detailing and kind of finished off these 2 buildings, or I guess the faces of them. You could see on the right we have a coffee shop now. It's extremely evident due to the sign that says coffee. We mixed in some brick with the terracotta that I added in. I believe that's like the light gray terracotta. It looks nothing like light gray, but that's what it is. I think this building definitely looks great. I added some of the candles that we got from the bee farm. There's a bunch of tables, some coffee cups, a garbage can. There's like this brick patio. I don't know if I really like these jagged lines, but I think it looks decent enough. You can definitely like distinctly realize that this is this coffee shop's patio because of the bricks. And then you have the office building that I was talking about, which has a lot of dark oak trap fences, or sorry, not trap fences, trap doors, which kind of give it this distinct, like, what are these called? Like, not blinds, but there's a specific word for them that go against the windows. We also added this right here. There's just like a stone brick wall fence right here that's going to take us down into these houses. It's going to be like an alleyway, and it's going to take you into a different section. We'll get to all of that later on. I still have to obviously build the backs of these buildings and continue to like detail them out. Maybe we'll add some leaves and things along those lines. But yeah, as far as these 2 go, I think they look really great, and I guess I'm going to go back into a test world, build up some more houses, and then continue to work on this area. Okay, so finally the fuzziness is gone. Everything should look clear now, and I went ahead and built up the next building. Now, this looks very similar to the coffee shop in terms of block palette, but what makes it look different is we have this staircase going on over here. I'm blanking on the name of what this is called, but a lot of those like old New York buildings have it, and I think it's called a fire escape, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I know from friends, they're always like hanging out on the fire escape, so that's kind of where I got the inspiration from, but I can't say that this build is completely mine. I did get inspiration off of Pinterest, so I'm gonna have to kind of pop up pictures of that at some point. You can see the similarities. There are some differences, but there are definitely some similarities. I don't want to completely say that this is mine. I went ahead and changed it up as much as I could, but I don't want to shy away from the fact that this isn't completely my design. Anyways, I went ahead and kind of like added the blocks to the backside and the walls, and we're gonna have to go ahead and add windows and doors and maybe some leaves and maybe even mix in some granite just to make it look a little bit more aged and lived in. That's what I want for all of these houses here. I want them to all look distinct and unique and to have their own vibes and block palettes going on. Yeah, there is going to be some cross-pollination here and there, but for the most part, I want everything to look extremely different from the house next to it. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going to continue to work on these houses, and then I'll get back to you when I have some more progress. Alright, so here we are, another house has been put up, and it's so far my favorite one. I love all of the block palette choices, I love the details going on. Again, I can't claim full responsibility for this design because I did draw heavy inspiration from someone else's build. I'm going to go ahead and put up a picture. Maybe I'll even drop the link for the Pinterest post down below if I remember to, but again, this isn't my build. I am in love with it. I have made my own changes to it to kind of make it a little bit more mine, but I can't kind of like take responsibility for the design. And this I did build right here, this kind of like step down here. It's not exactly anything special, but yeah, everything is coming together. You can see the streets are forming, the alleys are forming, and I just realized right now that I forgot to turn my audio back on. I don't know why I disabled that. Maybe I went to the XP farm or something like that, but yeah, I started to do the backs of the other houses as well. None of them are completed, none of them are fully detailed. We're gonna have to go ahead and make them look like they do on the front side, but again, you can see the alley starting to form, the road starting to form. You can see this chimney, which is is random. But yeah, everything's looking pretty cool. I can't wait to build all of these houses and then go back and add the small little crates and details that'll make it look a little bit more lived in. Again, I don't want to repeat myself, so I think that's all I'm going to say for now, but I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to go ahead, jump back into the creative test world and start to design a few more houses, draw some inspiration from other people's builds, because that's for some reason what I like to do and how I like to play Minecraft. But when I'm done that, I'll build them up and then come back and show you all. Alright, so I just wanted to step back. I thought this would be a good opportunity to just show you the different comparisons of my build versus where I drew inspiration from. Again, I know I've repeated myself multiple times, but I just wanted to drive the fact home that I didn't 100% create these buildings, so I don't want to 100% take credit for them. Alright, so a few days have passed and I've built this house up. It's not exactly completed, as you could see, but it's not exactly a house either, is it? It's more of like an office style building. That's exactly what I'm going for here. It kind of caps off the end of the street. It's a little bit taller than the rest of the houses, and I think it looks good. I think it's definitely a solid addition. Again, I'm not going to take 100% credit for this because I did kind of base it off of something. I'll put that image up on the screen like now or later on the video whenever I find a good spot to chuck that in. But yeah, I think this is definitely a good addition to the street. I'm going to get this done, and then we're probably going to do a few more of these like bigger office building style houses because I think that they fit in well. I think I like the height a bit well, and it's kind of cool when you have a variation of different heights. And I was also thinking, because this is kind of like the last house in the street and it's kind of looking over the lake, it's nice to have a taller house or building or whatever, because that like last floor can have a nicer view. That's kind of like the approach I'm going for. But yeah, as you can see right now, these are the two houses, or I guess the house that I based it off of, and then this is my version of it. So yeah, I think I did a pretty good job here. I'm going to continue to build up a few more buildings and then we'll be back. Alright, so quickly, before I build up any new houses, I just wanted to jump back in here, gather up all the materials that I needed to, I guess, complete the houses that we never completed. There's a few things that I need to collect: some acacia wood, some red sandstone, and just finish up the backs of these houses so that they're complete and we can leave them alone and we could start building the houses on the other side of them. This is something that I should have done a while ago, but I'm just now getting to it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish all of this up, and then on the backs of these houses we can start to build all of the new buildings, and there won't be an alley in between the two houses. It'll just kind of be like back to back. Alright, stepping back over here, as you can see, the backs of these three houses have been completed. Obviously, they don't have windows or doors or really any details because obviously you're not going to be able to see them once we build the other houses on the backs of these. You'll see in a second if you're confused at what I'm saying. This, we're going to have to detail, add some windows, maybe some flower pots and things along those lines, but these three houses are now completed and I can get to work on these plots right here. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be back with you. Alright, the sun is setting. The world is looking pretty beautiful. I kind of got a little bit carried away and built up a few new buildings. I usually say houses. Finally, I said buildings instead of houses. Anyways, I got a little carried away. I built up 3 or 4 structures, and you're about to see them now. Again, I did loosely base them off of some other buildings that I found on Pinterest. Maybe I shouldn't even say loosely, but this is what it's looking like. So obviously, it's pretty different than anything else we have here, and I mainly say that due to the fact that the windows are different. You can see a few of the houses poking up behind there, but yeah, the windows are particularly different because we didn't use any glass here. Maybe I will put some glass behind them at some point, but right now we're using the scaffolding blocks to kind of give off the like I saw this on the Pinterest build, but it's a really cool design because it gives off like the horizontal and vertical beams that are on regular windows. We have the same thing going up here on the roof. The roof looks really phenomenal. I really like this design for a roof. I really like the quartz and deep slate. I think those blocks work really well together. Then we have the next building over here. We didn't get to this side, but we will in a short while. You can see 3 buildings have popped up here. We have this next building, which isn't as nice as the first building, but it still looks pretty good. It has these like weird window sills that are outlined. It's like some kind of a shop, so that we have this tarp up here. I feel like that's like, if you have any shop in Minecraft, you give it that tarp market stall kind of looking thing, but it looks pretty good. I again really am a fan of the roof. The basic blocks here, we're using oak and stone and stuff like that. Then you have this building, which is again some kind of like an office brick shop, but you have this yellow banner that wraps around it. I thought that we can get like maybe some kind of font going on there. I don't know exactly what this shop is, but I'm really a big fan of the brick and how the what's that block called, the granite kind of interlocks with it. I think that looks really great. And then lastly, we have this sand and I guess I'm blanking on all of the names of the blocks in Minecraft, but sand and birchwood. There's a lot of different designs going on over here, little details that I've added in here. It almost looks like an Apple store on the bottom, and then it just transforms into this, I guess, like royal detail. I don't know. I also forgot that we built this up, which is very different, very out there. I again love the block palette. All of the block palettes that I've been using on these buildings have just been working so well, and I'm just really a fan of them. The only thing is all of these buildings look kind of similar, but again, they're all supposed to be a little bit taller because they have these nice like waterfront views, so I'm a fan of that. This one's looking pretty modern though on the bottom, and then we have a lot of white blocks going on here. We have the, I forgot, is it called calcite? Again, I'm blanking on the names of these blocks. And then we have all of the warped wood, which really sticks out because it's that like nice blue vibrant color. I also forgot that we built this building up, which is very different from anything else that we have because of the shape of it. There's a lot of different curves and bends to it. The roof is very unique. I think this again looks really good. I'm very happy with all of the buildings that we've built up in this particular section of the town. I think they all look very unique, and I love the block palettes again. So yeah, a lot of sandstone going on here, a lot of quartz. We have some balconies wrapping around the base of it just using oak wood. I think that looks pretty distinct and almost like, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it just works with the other blocks. So yeah, let's take a step back over here and just look at this like nice illuminated city, how it's on the dock, how we have all of these tall buildings. We have one more building and then, well, three more, but one more, and then we'll be able to look at the entire city from over here and kind of see a completed image. Now, again, like I was saying, these four buildings are very similar. The roofs are very similar, but I think that they all look good and work, and hopefully we'll get some more variation going on with little details in the town. Like we'll add fires, we'll add benches, maybe some leaves sprinkled in there. But overall, I'm just extremely happy with how this is looking, and I can't wait to see like all of the houses along the coast or along the waterfront be completed, in this entire city, which is going to be pretty massive at one point, be completed. But for now, I'm really happy with how this is turned out. Okay, here we are. Another building has been built up, and it looks pretty different compared to the rest of the buildings here. It's not using any kind of stone or sandstone or brick, which I've been using for the majority of the buildings. It only relies on spruce wood and a bit of terracotta. I'm a huge fan of that combination of blocks, especially this color of terracotta. I think it's like light gray or something like that. Obviously, it doesn't look like gray, but it is. I wanted to make the building look a little bit less, I guess, boxy and rectangular, so I added this engraving, I guess you could call it. There's like a balcony on that. I think what else is cool about this build is all of the windowsills have these like defined paths with the trap doors going down here, and then each one of the windows has a basket for flowers, which again looks pretty good. We'll fill that in with flowers. The roof looks a little bit weird because it's kind of an odd design. You have like a thick layer of spruce wood going, and then it's just a flat roof. I think it looks good. Maybe we'll add some grass on top of that, and maybe some kind of like a greenhouse or something along those lines. Maybe not, we'll see. But all of the roofs in this area are kind of bland. I want to add maybe some kind of AC units or something along those lines just to get some detail. And then obviously the interiors look absolutely horrible. You can see the backs of different buildings. We'll eventually go back and add the right blocks to kind of make the back sides and sides of those buildings look more natural. But yeah, moving on to these last two houses. Okay, so again, I got a little bit carried away and finished off the last two houses. You can see that the skyline has now been completed. Every single one of the buildings in this corner are done. Obviously, we're going to go back and add details. I mentioned that in the previous clips, and we will do that. I'm not sure if we'll do it in today's episode, but I have a bunch of little ideas that I want to add, like benches and leaves and stuff like that, which I already mentioned. Anyways, let's get to talking about these two new buildings that I added. One of them is kind of like a news office. I guess it's going to have a banner that says news. I don't know if we'll have a specific sign up there. Maybe we'll do like the Daily Bugle because I like Spider-Man, but I showed this building off. Now we have these two new buildings. I used jungle wood, stripped jungle wood, and deep slate, and honestly, I'm really a big fan of these two blocks together. It almost looks like a cream color. It almost looks like stucco in real life. We have the balconies going here. It's not exactly my favorite building because it's really just out there, but I think it looks good enough, so we're gonna leave that there. Then we have this building here, which is that news building I was talking about. It almost looks like something out of the 1800s, early 1900s, almost, because of the block palette. You know, we have all, this is the sign that I was talking about. I cut myself off there because I just wanted to mention that's where we're going to put the banners for like the Daily Bugle. I don't know if that'll fit, but the side here is very basic. We're going to have to sprinkle some leaves or vines or something along those lines just to kind of differentiate it. And then these two buildings, because they line up so perfectly, and I didn't really do that intentionally, it just bothers me a little bit because they almost look like the same building. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna have to add a bunch of details here because they almost look flat. Over here we have a bunch of these iron bars, but on the jungle wood, the strip jungle wood, we don't really have much going on. Anyways, the roofs, this one looks decent. It looks the same as the one behind it. So again, I didn't really intentionally do that, but that's the way it turned out. And then this building over here has all of these skylights. We have the iron bars as kind of fences. I think that looks pretty interesting. It's not like anything else we have around it. So again, uniqueness is fairly good. I like when things look different. That's the look I'm going for in this entire city. So now I think we're going to leave all of this be. We've completed all of the buildings in this section of the town. I want to run back through all of this area and add a bit of detail, and then we'll probably call it a day for this particular section of the world. Okay, but here we are, the last clip of the episode. I just wanted to show you all the details that I've added to this section of the city. I think it's definitely improved over time with these details. Maybe I went a little too heavy with the leaves in particular because there's just a lot of them, and maybe I'll go back and reduce some of that. I want to go ahead and add some vines instead of leaves in some sections, but I didn't have vines on me and I was a little bit lazy to go pick them up. So yeah, let's just walk through here, look at all the different details. You can see there's a lot of tables around the place. There's obviously still incompleted interiors. I added these kind of like chains across the tops of the roofs just to kind of mimic some kind of electrical line or something like that. We have this really cool art wall over here. I added some banners. They don't really have font on them yet, but we'll get to that. But yeah, a bunch of small little details to make the place look lived in. You can see I've added benches. I detailed out all of the houses, added windows, added like bricks here. We didn't have that previously, and everything is just looking very colorful. Everything is looking very vibrant. There's lighting everywhere. There's details everywhere you look. I forgot to mention that wall over there, but yeah, you could just kind of sit on this bench right here and look around. And when we get all of the shops and interiors done one day, who knows when, maybe in like 20 years, because I hate doing interiors, I think everything is just going to look so cool, and there's going to be so much life to this city. And I just really like walking around these streets because of all of these details. I still want to add more. I still almost feel like it's almost barren in a way, but yeah, every detail counts, and I'm gonna keep scrolling through Pinterest and looking at things. Maybe we'll add some street lamps and things of those sorts just to make everything look just that bit more alive. That's exactly what I'm going for, trying to make Minecraft look alive. I feel like I always talk about this, but that's gonna be it for today's episode, though. Hopefully you all did enjoy it. I know we hyper focused on this section of the world. We got a bunch of work done on the town though, so that was kind of enjoyable for me. I really like seeing all of these buildings be built up and the world being expanded. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me ramble, even though I feel like I repeated myself so many times during this episode, so I apologize for that. But I'm gonna leave it off there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Hopefully you're having a great day, and I hope to see you in the next episode. See you guys.